Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm going to talk to you today about mobility. So I put together this video with some different mobility routines that you can incorporate in your day-to-day. Some of them are more for warm-ups. Some of them are ones you can do any time of the day, maybe before you go to bed to wind down. No matter what, I highly recommend that you spend 10 minutes a day on mobility work. So it's really not that much time out of your day, and it's going to have drastic improvements for you in the long run. And what I mean by that is that when we don't move our bodies, when we don't train our bodies to move correctly, we are more prone to injury. So when you go into the gym and your form is lacking, it might be because your body is not mobile in that area. So working on mobility is really going to help you activate the correct muscles so you can have the proper form. Another reason for mobility is really going to help you in your day-to-day life. We're moving all the time, and a lot of times we move incorrectly, which could lead to injury as well. A lot of us have desk jobs, so if we have poor posture, our shoulders are hunched over, we don't stand up, we don't move, well, it'll lead to things like back pain, or you might get migraines and headaches and things like that because our bodies are trying to overcompensate in different areas where it shouldn't be. So mobility routines are going to help with that. And it can really help fix a lot of normal day-to-day aches and pains that we complain about. You'd be very surprised about just how 10 minutes a day is going to improve upon that. So what I recommend is really kind of doing a body assessment. Maybe go through one with Heather, find some online, see where your areas of weaknesses are, and then find some mobility routines that will help focus on improving those areas. So I did put together some that I like to work on myself. You'll see that I am definitely not perfect in those areas. I'm still working on my own personal mobility, but it's all about what you're, listening to your body. You don't want to feel the movements. You don't want to feel pain in the movements. So if you feel pain, back off. There is some shoulder work in here. I know a lot of people do have shoulder injuries, so just be very cautious when going into them. But if you can do them, I highly recommend them so you can prevent future injuries in your shoulders, hips, or whatever. So yeah, take some time, go through it. Try it out, let us know what you think, and I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to show you a mobility routine that I like to do personally before I do a lower body day. And this is something that you can do before your workout as a dynamic stretch, meaning that you're not holding the stretch for too long, you're doing multiple reps, and it's just to really get your body moving to help prevent injury. This is also a series that you can do instead of doing multiple reps. You can just hold each movement for about 1 minute to 2 minutes to really feel the stretch. I recommend doing that after a workout, maybe in the evening, right before you're ready to go to bed, especially if you have any kind of lower body mobility hindrances or issues or anything like that down there. It's really going to just loosen everything up, and you're really going to see improvement on your lower body days. So we'll get into it. What you're going to want to do for the first part is get it kind of in a lunge position. And what I want you to focus on is tilting your pelvis forward like this and holding it there. You're going to kind of feel a little bit in your quad. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your hand, go over, and feel that stretch right here. And so when it's a mobility exercise, you want to do that about 5 times. Hold it, back down. Tilt, hold, back down. So you'll do that about 5 times. And then what you're going to do is we're going to do a quad stretch. If you need to hold on to something, totally okay. But what you want to do is, again, tilt the pelvis forward, grab your foot, and really feel that stretch. As you can see, it's a little bit hard. And hold. Back down. Tilt. Hold. Back down. Tilt. Hold. Okay. You'll really feel that nice and warmed up there. From here, I want you to get down into kind of a lunge position here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go up and we're going to tilt our back foot to the side. Brace yourself with this hand, and then you're going to stretch up. 1, lunge, 2. You're going to really feel it, the stretch in your glute and in your upper back. And once you've done about 5 of those, you're going to shift over, put your foot flat on the ground, lunge in this sideways position, and then to the other side. You do that about 5 times. And then once you're done there, you're going to go to do all those movements backwards on the other side. So we're going to go lunge position, put your foot down on the back, brace yourself, up, stretch, up. Once you're done there, you're going to put your knee down, and we're going to do the quad. Remember to tilt your pelvis forward, hold, release. Tilt your pelvis forward, hold, release. And then we'll go back to the last exercise. Tilt the pelvis forward, really tighten the glute, and stretch. You want to be really tight right here. So forward, tighten, stretch. And that is it. So something that is very common is really tight hips. And so what I'm going to show you is a mobility movement that will help loosen up the hips. And that's really going to help you with your lower body days and just your overall day-to-day movement. So this is actually a really good one for either warm-up or for after your workout. Do it a couple times a week and you'll really see a huge improvement. So what they are, they're hip circles. And personally, I feel the effects like immediately after I do it. So I highly recommend trying this one out. So what you want to do is kind of get into position like you're doing a cat-cow. You want to keep your core braced and you want to keep your hips down so you don't want them to flare too much. What we're going to do is we're going to stick the leg out kind of like at a 90 degree, and then we're going to rotate it up, back down, stick it out kind of like you're doing a donkey kick, rotate it, back down, up, down, core braced, hips down. And you can do this about 5 to 10 times, really taking your time to feel the stretch, back down. And then you would do it on the other side. So try it out, see what you think. Our version of hip circles is, there is an advanced version. I'm still working on them, so my technique might not be the best, but if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more with them, you can, instead of having the leg bent at a 90 degree, you can keep your leg out straight. So we'll get back into our position. We'll stick our leg out. We'll rotate up, down to the side over here, rotate back up, over, and back down. Up, over, to the side, up, rotate, down. You'll feel it all over, making sure your hips stay straight and that they don't move too much and that you're just focusing on the hip rotation internally. And there you have it. We did the hip rotation circles on the floor. Another version is doing them standing up. So what we'll want to do is you want to ball your hands into a fist, stick them straight out. You're going to lift your leg, keeping your hips keeping your arms engaged, your core engaged, your hips forward. You're going to rotate the leg out, up, back, down. And then reverse. Up, rotate, down. Try to keep your hips as straight as possible while doing this. It's a little challenging. Because what your body will tend to do, will want to rotate this way. Try to keep them straight and really just move out your leg. Down. If you need to hold on to something, that's completely fine. It's really just about opening up the body as much as you're able to. We're all different. We all have difficulties in different areas, and that is okay. It's all about improving your weak points. So I recommend trying that one out as well. Mix it up, see if you like the ones on the floor, on the standing, or a little bit of both. And yeah. And I would recommend this being more of a post-workout mobility routine because we are going to do some holding of the stretches. It's really just to get everything loosened up, feeling good. And it's something that I think that you can progress over time with, especially if you're holding the movements for a long period of time. So this movement is really about the abductors and getting those all nice and stretched out. So what you'll do is you'll have your knees in a 90-90, and you're going to want to hold your ankles and get into a spot that feels comfortable. If you're closer in or if you're closer out, whatever is good for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit up straight, and then you're going to lean forward, pressing your elbows into your knees, and then you're going to hold. And you're going to hold that for about a minute. And once a minute is up, what I want you to do is to really press the elbows into the knees, and then release. And then what you're going to do is keep your elbows where they are and try to pull your knees away from your elbows. They don't physically have to move. They don't have to not touch. If you can, then awesome. That's what you're trying to do, but it's a lot harder than it looks. So just think about pulling your knees away from your elbows, and don't move your elbows in. Keep them where they were when you were pressing the elbows into the knees, and really hold that out. Hold for 5 seconds, and then once you're done with that, what you're going to do is go back into the position, straight back, forward, hold for a minute. So once you're done with that, what you're going to do is get into position like you're going to cat-cow. And then what I want you to do is to put your leg out. Really feel that stretch here. Put your foot flat on the ground, not like this, but the side flat. And what you're going to do here is you're going to lean back into the stretch. Hold for a couple seconds. Forward. Lean back into the stretch, really feeling it right here. And you're going to do this about 10 times. After you feel like you're loosening up a little bit, what I want you to do is to press real hard into the floor for about 5 seconds. All right? And after the 5 seconds, you're going to want to try to lift your leg off the floor. It doesn't physically have to come off the floor, but the idea is that you're trying to lift it. And I don't want you going like this, because that's cheating. What I want you to do is really focus on engaging and trying to lift it off. Hold for 5 seconds, back down, and then do 10 more stretches. It's a lot harder than it looks. It'll feel amazing once you're done, I promise. And then, of course, do it on the other side. Now I'm going to go through an upper body routine, and this is really going to warm up your shoulders, your back, and just really get you ready for any kind of upper body movement. So I'm going to start with something that you might be familiar with. It's either called like the crocodile, open book, whatever, and then we're going to go straight into an overhead angel. So I'll show you how that works. So we're going to lay down, put your knee on the ground. You can hold it with this hand. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this arm and we're going to reach as far as we can. and then reach back. Really opening up the body. Reach over, reach back. It feels really good. And if you need to, just sit into the stretch. Hold it for a little bit longer if it feels good. Do that about 5 to 10 times. And then we're going to go into overhead angels. So we'll take this arm and we're going to reach it over our head. Bend your elbow slightly and then pull down and really feel that in your back. Reach up and then pull down, keeping your elbow as close to the ground as possible. Up, pull back. Up, pull back. Again, do that 5 to 10 times, both sides. Once you're done with that, we are going to get into a plank position. Our legs are going to be spread out. Our wrists are underneath our shoulders. We're going to put all of our weight on, let's say we'll do our right hand first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to reach up. And then we're going to reach underneath and get that full stretch. Up, reach underneath. Like so. 5 to 10 times each side. And once you've done both sides, we're going to stay in that position. And if you guys are familiar with downward dog, I'm not that flexible in this area, so be patient with me. So we're going to stay in that plank position. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one arm and we're going to reach it to the opposite ankle and stretch out. One. Really twisting to feel it in the upper body. If you have more mobility and flexibility, you might be able to reach your ankles more than me. But do whatever your body can do. If you need to grab behind your knee, that's fine. Just really focus on that back stretch. Like so. 10 times each side again. And then what we're going to do is a little bit of some push-up movements. Feel free to modify if you can't quite do the full push-up. But push-ups are actually really great to warm up the shoulders, so I highly recommend them. So what we're going to do, get into your push-up position, and we're going to do a slow tricep push-up, which means your wrists are underneath your shoulders. You don't want to be super far out. You want to be right here. And you're going to do a slow eccentric movement down. Lay your body on the ground. And we're going to put our arms up. We're going to put our palms out. And then we're going to move up, kind of like Superman. Your palms are out. Go back down. Up like this. Little push up. Slow eccentric movement down. Arms up, palms out, up. We'll do it one more time. So yes, do that 5 to 10 times. You really feel the upper body warmed up and ready to go. So I'm going to show you a mobility routine for your shoulders, and this is something I really want you to go slow, controlled movements. I highly recommend doing this outside of your workout, so it doesn't have to be part of your warm-up routine, but it can be something maybe in the evening before you go to bed, especially if you need to work on your shoulder rotation. So what I'm going to have you do is get something that you can hold on to. A stable surface. I have a foam roller if you need a chair, just something that you can have right here to the side of you. And what this is going to do is it's going to help us really lock the body. So you're going to take your opposite arm that you'll be working, and you're going to place it onto your stable surface. And what you're going to do is you're going to focus on pressing down into the object. And what this is going to do, it's going to really lock in your body. and stabilize everything. So there's going to be a lot going on. I know it's going to be a lot of things to think about, but try to keep this pushed in. All right, so we have that pushed in. Now, what I'm going to have you do, we're going to work this shoulder. We're going to take our hand with our thumb facing out, and we're going to pull up without too much movement. You want to keep your shoulders facing straight. You're going to lead with your thumb, nice and controlled, pushing down into your object. Go up. And so this is external rotation, and then we are going to go into internal rotation. And so how to do that, once you get to this point, I want you to focus on not moving your body. Rotate your arm, your hand, and face your palm out. And then go back as far as you can without moving your body. And try to do the internal rotation. So your hand ends up down here. We're going to go back up as far as you can, and then until you need to rotate again, back down. So what I want you to focus on here is not moving your body. You want to only rotate your shoulder. It's pretty tough, and it's totally okay if your arm only comes out to here. I personally don't have the best shoulder mobility, so my arm is a little bit further out. Some of you will be able to go straight back, which is amazing. That's what we're working towards. So, but it's totally fine if your arm only goes out to here and down. The point is to really increase your shoulder mobility. I don't want you swinging your arm like this. It needs to be nice and controlled. Up, rotate out, down, back, as far as you can until you have to rotate again. Nice and controlled. Okay, so this is going to be a shoulder warm-up routine, and it's all about the shoulder rotation and the different levels and planes that your shoulder will be moving. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your arms up like this, and the first one we're going to do is we're just going to push out, really extending the arm, and we'll do that, I would recommend 10 times each arm. Out, and then we're going to go up, really feeling that stretch at the top, up, up, about 10 times. Now we're going to go out, like that, really feeling that stretch, and then we're going to go over, rotating the palm to face behind you. And then we're going to go across the body. So what we're going to do here is we are going to go with your palm facing out and then rotating out like this, opening up the body and putting the hand there and out. Really feeling that stretch. And do the other side. So this one is called wall flexion, and it's really about opening up your shoulders to be able to go straight up. It's a pretty simple movement, but it does take a lot of control and thought, and you'll notice that I actually have some limited mobility in this, but I'll show you what we're working towards and something that you can try to improve upon. So what you're going to do is you're going to find a blank wall, and you're going to lean against it. Your feet can be slightly out from the wall, and you just want to lean back into it. If your head doesn't comfortably hit the wall, that's totally fine. We're trying to work towards that, but if it doesn't happen right away, that's totally normal. It's fine. So you want to get against the wall, but the thing to focus on is you don't want your rib cage flaring out. Try to keep your back against the wall. It doesn't need to be, this part does not need to be flat because your neutral position does have a natural curve. The main priority is focusing on keeping the rib cage down your back against the wall. And when we move up, we don't want our shoulders to go up to our ears. We want to keep those down as well. So the goal is to get all the way up without bending your arms, so keeping your arms straight and moving your arms up, thumbs up, and go as far as you can. And then back down. Now, people with really good mobility are going to be able to touch the wall, and that's what we're working towards. I personally have very restricted shoulders, so it's a little bit challenging. So keep the rib cage down, thumbs out, up, and go as far as you can without bending the elbows and the shoulders going to the ears. And then down. So I recommend doing this as often as you can to eventually get up to the top of the wall. I still have a lot to work to do on it, and so I recommend you trying it as well.